I'm working for Gensler, which is a multidisciplinary architecture and design and planning firm. And my interest in this topic is particularly on focusing on the urban environment and how all these emerging technologies will shape our cities. Just right at the beginning, it's kind of like who's in control. I think it's like a look at all of you, because you all seem to have an interest in this topic. And in that sense, it's like we are all, it's kind of asked to participate in shaping our cities and the future. And as John said, it's like we can't wait for things to happen. We need to decide now and make clever decisions how our cities work for our future generations. Just a very quick oversight. There's several, it's like enormous trends going on that light the way. We know kind of like we are in the century of age of the cities. There are more people housed now in cities than in other areas. Very quickly, it's kind of like big numbers, 1.2 million cars in our world. It's kind of like a lot of areas in our cities are taken up by roadways and parking, not particularly great environments. Another one is like our own vehicles are causing air pollution, but as well global warming, impacting on the quality of life of our cities. So, what would you like our urban futures to look like? And kind of a little glimpse. This is an image from Tomorrowland. No, it's a Disney movie, but you know, will it be a three-dimensional stacking and layering of different services, underground, overground, in the air? It's kind of like to be able to increase capacity to be able to accommodate all these people and transportation services that we need in the future. Or is there another utopia which is really focusing more on the people? It's like, and see that we create environments that are less noisy, less stressful, and more sustainable, and at the end, more walkable. So just a bit of a look back into our history. It's like, obviously cities started out being all built around pedestrians. We started kind of like in the early century, it's like having very compact like streetscape. And then suddenly, it's like post-war, what happened? The car, excitement about the car. Everybody was kind of looked what this new technology would bring. All our cities were suddenly, it's kind of like determined by road width, increasing capacity and allowing for easy flow for these new technologies. Same, it's kind of like the two cities, it's all around the world. It's like these cities are trying to redefine themselves now, seeing how they can get their cities now refocusing on the people and actually trying to get the dominance of the cars out of their cities. We've worked with Birmingham, we're working currently with Portsmouth as well. They want to get rid of their 1960s atrocities of road design, major roundabouts and so on, and actually start developing a street pattern that is more connective, an environment that is better suited for the people. At the end, it's kind of these developments in technology will have a major impact, but it will give us a chance to rebalance our public space and actually start creating cities again for the future. I know that, for example, the development around King's Cross, Google was actually choosing this as a location to be able actually to test their driverless cars. The question is, do you really want to have driverless cars zipping around public spaces which are actually better used by pedestrians? So there will definitely be a conflict. It's kind of like, and in between answer to this is like where certain areas will be dedicated for people, and the driverless car and all these new technologies will take ownership of other areas. As we heard already, it's like Mass Global. It's a technology which allows kind of this digital information to fuel our mobility. It's like sharing will be a massive element in helping shaping our environments in that sense. And as we heard already, we see that there's a responsibility on us, or as architects and designers and planners, to actually start future-proofing our developments and our cities. There is already thoughts going on in every way. It's kind of like to see how developments, for example, can prepare for shift of uses, so that parking areas which are now necessary from a real estate point of view can actually later, when there is no demand, be turned into other usable spaces, office or residential. Other ones is like prime real estate needs to be reused. Again, it's kind of like seeing that parking in other areas, it's like external parking as well, can be turned into public space. And again, future-proofing our infrastructure is like, think now how layering of services can be allowing later on public space to grow above it, and development going on above it. So the future, I think, is in all our hands, so it's all on us and our responsibility to shape it. Thank you very much.